correspondent Richard Engel joins us now live from Istanbul, Turkey. And Richard, how does the United States find itself aligned with Iran in Iraq, but yet against Iran in Yemen here? Break down the complexity of this, especially when it seems like it's kind of contradicting the alliance.
It's actually even more contradictory than that, because in Syria you have the U.S. fighting both with Iran and against Iran in the same country. So there is an incredibly convoluted dynamic underway right now, where the U.S. is negotiating on one hand, and that's probably the biggest story right now, that the U.S. is negotiating in Switzerland to come up with some sort of comprehensive deal with Iran, which would see Iran put some brakes on its nuclear program in exchange for lifting the sanctions. So while we're negotiating in one country, we're fighting or supporting a fight against Iran in Yemen, the fight that is now being led by Saudi Arabia. We're fighting both with and against Iran in Syria, and fighting with Iran in Iraq. So there are many people who I've spoken to, many in the military, many policy analysts, who say that what we're seeing here is an incoherent policy.
Sure. I mean,
regarding not just Iran, but regarding the Middle East in general. It's
tough to even keep track of it. Richard, let's talk about this when it comes to the diplomacy and the challenge there with Secretary of State Kerry Geneva trying to hammer out a nuclear deal with Iran before the deadline next Tuesday. How does that come into play as far as disrupting the negotiations there?
Well, if you look at the timing of the strike in Yemen, and I think it reveals a lot about the negotiations. Saudi Arabia and the other Arab countries didn't consult extensively with the U.S. military. I know several people in the U.S. military who were taken by surprise by this. Senior officials who would have been expected to know that there was going to be an operation in Yemen, they didn't. They were finding out about it almost in real time. And they believe, and some U.S. members of the Congress believe, that the reason Saudi Arabia and other states didn't tell the U.S. that it was going to launch this war against Shiite-backed or Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen is because Saudi Arabia and other countries simply don't trust the United States anymore, don't trust this administration, think the administration is working to befriend Iran, to try and make a deal in Switzerland, and therefore didn't feel that the intelligence, frankly, would be secure. And I think that's a situation that is quite troubling for U.S. foreign policy, where traditional allies like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like the United Arab Emirates, don't know if the U.S. is reliable at this stage to hold on to sensitive information when it comes to Iran.
Surely making it even more complicated there when it comes to U.S. and our Mideast policy. Richard Engel, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. We appreciate your time.